My goal is to make sure everyone on earth can connect easily with their dreams if they want to. Do you ever get the sense that your pet isn't just an animal, but it's more of a presence with a purpose beyond this lifetime? The dream I'm bringing you today has all kinds of non-earth animals in it, and we are going to dive very deep in this dream. Soul Companions is a dream seed that I created that is part of a series called Soul Family Work that helps to release family karma. The Soul Companions Dream Seed helps by considering how animals, especially those we've been in contact with in this lifetime, shape us at a very deep level. Animals teach us Dharma, and part of that is operating from our true nature, instincts, genuineness, and trusting that we can move through life without calculating every move, without choosing our words wisely, which is painful. That's the opposite of flow. And if those lessons aren't consciously integrated, they will continue to appear in our lives, sometimes in a ruthless way. And in our dreams, they give us even more ruthless challenges because they're a safe space where we can experience them. So the dream that we're doing today comes from a dreamer who was doing the Soul Companions Dream Seed. And you can do that too. The whole soul family work is on a playlist, both on my website and on my page. Okay, quick reminder. As we go through this dream, remember that chakras speak through your dreams, and they give us so much helpful insight into how to create our best life. So why don't you come along and discover with me which chakras you think are being indicated in this dream? And here's the dream. The dreamer is alone in the ocean. The sky is dark and overcast, and light is reflecting off the surface of the water. Everything has sort of a misty, silvery appearance. The water is choppy with wind, but no real panic. And he isn't swimming, and he's not on a boat. He's just sort of floating above the surface of the water with his legs steering him, sort of like a fish. All around him are enormous animals, like ancient dinosaur-like beings. These are not any familiar sea creatures like dolphins, whales, or sharks. And they all sort of have that same misty, silvery appearance. And these animals are moving in a random manner. Later, the dreamer sees a small line of sailing ships off in the distance, all moving in a line. And then some of the animals start to go over there and also move in that same direction. Eventually in the dream, he moves towards the shoreline. And as he gets closer to shore, the animals are sort of standing now in shallow water, and he wonders whether they will come on to land with him. But when he reaches the white beach and sees civilization, he walks out of the water and the animals are no longer there. And he's just left standing on the shore with this vague sense of that something is supposed to happen next, but he doesn't know quite what it is. So before I even read this dream, I just tuned in to the general message of the dream. That's a practice that you can do with your own dreams. After you write it down, just sort of go into a quiet space within yourself and ask yourself, what is the main message of this dream? Here's what I got. I got that the dreamer was being asked to reflect on how much emphasis he puts on direction in life, and that he's sacrificing knowing himself deeply in order to feel like he's accomplished everything on his list. Something like if he just finishes his list, then he will have accomplished something in his life. But that's a shallow way for him to be moving through life. Now, let's see how the dream falls in line with that initial message. And don't forget to look for where chakras might be needing attention. This is going to be key for the dreamer to know what messages the dream has brought for him. If you watch my video about drowning, you will know that the ocean is placing us squarely in sacral chakra territory, the domain of movement, gestation, and pre-verbal knowing. In the sacral, direction doesn't come from thinking. It comes from being carried with the current comfortably. And notice the dreamer is being carried. He's moving without effort. He is steering, and there's no struggle or panic, as he put it. But he's still trying to figure things out instead of just noticing that he's being carried and that he's been carried his whole life and it's always worked out. So it's like he has this subconscious belief that if he gives himself the freedom to flow, then he might bob about life randomly without ever accomplishing anything. The animals play a beautiful role in this dream. And in fact, in soul companion dreams, expect to see a lot of animals. They will come and assist you during this phase of soul family work. When I did it, I had a capybara show up in my dream. I had a horse, a wolf, a moose, and of course, my dog and my past dog showed up many times to help me. Wild. Anyway, this dream shows ancient, powerful, instinctual animal beings, but they are moving about randomly. So there's no shared orientation or organizing principle. So you might think that the dreamer is simply directionless, but that would be an incorrect conclusion, at least based on the way that I look at dreams. Remember that the dreamer is the most important part. So you must talk to the dreamer and follow the energy of the dream. Where does the dream want to take you today? So I ask him, does he trust that where he's going in life is where he's meant to be going? And his answer explained a core waking life experience. He said he doesn't know why, but he's always felt like he doesn't know who he is and what he's doing here. And that's the birth wound being shown, a pervasive loss of instinctual trust. But the dreamer has nothing to point to in this life as to where that wound might have come from. Okay, so that's another point for the sacral chakra. Here's another tidbit. Because the dreamer is in the same field as the animals, remember they're in the ocean right now, that means that this pattern didn't start in this lifetime. It's something he brought with him. And that makes sense too, because the animals that are in there with him are ancient. They're not from this lifetime. They're not things that he would recognize like sharks or whales. Okay, but not all is lost. Let's keep following this dream and see where it takes us. And that brings me to another chakra. Did you find it? One thing that stood out is that all the animals had this silver quality. And in this case, silver points us towards the soul star chakra, the 8th chakra just above the head. And do you know what? This chakra holds soul memory, karmic threads, and pre-birth material like the retrieval of past life memories. So cool. I love how this dream seed brings forth exactly what the intention is. And the soul star chakra fits perfectly because that's exactly where we are in this sacral pre-birth territory. In fact, many of this person's dreams consistently show past life themes. In this lifetime, he actually carries very little active karma. His dreams don't revolve around fixing, repairing, or correcting early life traumas. And that can be surprisingly hard to fill into, since in his tangible memories, there's no reflection of struggle or unfinished business from this lifetime. So the silver animals, the soul field, the pre-birth quality, all of that reflects a life in which direction isn't something to search for. It's something to stay aligned with, which is the next point. In guiding him through this dream, he talked about a familiar feeling of thinking that he needs direction, a map, a compass, a next step. But in the dream, the guidance wasn't anything concrete. It was something much simpler, flow. And his dreams point toward Dharmic flow again and again. This dream shows that his life direction will never come from a checklist. It will never come from rigid plans or step-by-step instructions. Those things work against his nature, against his animal memory. His direction is about accepting Dharma, trusting the current that already knows where to go. Just like the wind that the ships were lining up with, and just how the animals began to line up behind those ships, and just like the ocean itself, it's asking him to remember how to be carried by nature. What a beautiful, beautiful message and dream. Okay, we're coming across the finish line with this dream. We're not done yet. Are you still tracking? Excited by the chakras you found on your own? Great job. Okay, so when the dreamer moves towards shore, this is birth. Why? Well, this marks when the dreamer is leaving the water of the sacral and moving onto land and entering civilization. So, leaving the womb to be on land. And isn't that what happens during birth? We're a water being until we are jolted into structure and plans, logic, external authority, life on earth. As this person is approaching land or civilization, animals are beginning to stand now in the shallow water. So this is even symbolically showing an evolution from being the water being to being the earth being. But remember, when he steps on land, the animals don't follow him. So that's not because his instincts are gone. It's just that that's the point where he disconnected from trusting them. This is where direction becomes something that he thinks he has to figure out instead of something that he can simply follow. So this dream is about relearning trust in his instinct and allowing direction to emerge naturally instead of forcing himself to follow something. That's the soul wisdom that he thought he disconnected with upon incarnation, but it's been there all along. Once again, thanks for dreaming with me. May your nights be rich with guidance and your mornings full of clarity.